High above Earth, a silver alien ship floated quietly in the night sky. No lights, no sound, just a dark shape, watching. Inside the ship, Commander Velok stood in front of a glowing screen. His skin was pale blue. His eyes, sharp like knives, stared down at the world below. "They laugh too much," he said in a cold voice. Beside him, a small alien assistant tilted his head. "Humans are strange, Commander. Even during war, they celebrate." Velok narrowed his eyes. "That is their weakness, and we will use it." He pointed to the screen. It showed people dancing in a large hall in Rome. Music played. Glasses clinked. Red wine flowed. "This, drink. They love it," Velok said. "They use it to relax, to forget pain, to feel joy." The assistant nodded. "We have added the serum to every bottle. Just a few drops. Once they drink it, their minds will become soft, their will broken." Velok gave a slow, dark smile. "Good. Let the toasting begin." Rome. The party begins. In a grand hall lit by golden lights, the party was in full swing. Laughter filled the air. A jazz band played softly in the corner. Waiters moved between tables with silver trays, offering fine Italian wine. Jack Carter, a tall man with kind eyes and a tired smile, leaned on the bar. He was a bartender, flown in from London for this special event. He poured wine after wine, watching rich guests drink and laugh. Emma Voss, a scientist from Berlin, sat at a corner table. She didn't laugh. She didn't drink. She watched. Something felt wrong. A woman nearby giggled too loudly. A man dropped his glass, but laughed instead of apologizing. A group began singing, loud, off-key, almost like a chant. Emma frowned. She reached for her phone. "Jack," she texted, "meet me outside. Urgent." The first fall. Back inside, an old man stood near the center of the room, holding his glass high. "To Earth," he shouted. "To wine." Everyone cheered. He drank in one long gulp. And then he froze. The glass fell from his hand and shattered. His eyes rolled back. For a second, it looked like he was having a heart attack. People screamed. A woman ran forward. "Is he okay?" Suddenly, the man stood straight up. His eyes were glowing red. He smiled. A slow, wide, strange smile. Then he let out a loud, wild laugh. "More," he shouted. "Give me more wine." Everyone stared. Then another person dropped their glass. Then another, and another. Within minutes, 5 people were on the floor, then standing again, laughing, glowing. Outside, Jack and Emma. Jack met Emma behind the hall, under the cold moonlight. "Something's wrong in there," he said quickly. "I know," Emma replied. She held up a small test tube. "I took some of the wine. There's something in it. A chemical. Foreign. Poison." Jack asked. Emma shook her head. "Not exactly. It doesn't kill. It changes people." Suddenly, they heard a scream from inside. Then another. Glass breaking. Laughter, but not normal laughter. Wild. Mad. They ran to the door and peeked in. The party was chaos. People were dancing like they were in a trance. Some were climbing on tables. One man hit the wall with his fist over and over, laughing as blood ran down his hand. "Is this a drug?" Jack whispered. "No," Emma said, her voice shaky. "It's worse. This is unlocking something inside them." On the ship, a Nidu back on the alien ship, Commander Velok watched the screen with wide eyes. "Why are they not falling?" he shouted. "Why are they laughing?" The assistant checked the readings. "Commander, the serum is not making them weak. It is activating something we don't understand." Velok slammed his hand on the control panel. "This is not possible." "They are changing," the assistant whispered. "And I think they like it." In Dane moment, the red eyes. Back in Rome, the man with glowing red eyes walked slowly toward the bar. Jack stepped back, holding a wine bottle like a weapon. But the man didn't attack. He smiled. "You don't know what's inside us," he said in a low voice. "But soon, you will." Jack stared, heart racing. Emma gripped his arm. "This isn't just wine anymore." They looked around the room. Dozens of people now stood, eyes red, smiles wide, spirits rising. The first glass had been poured, and humanity was no longer the same. Absolutely. Here is part 2 of your HFY sci-fi story. Title: The Day They Tainted Our Wine and Discovered Humanity's Dark Secret. Part 2, Taste of Madness. Length: long, around 1,800 to 2,000 words. Third person, simple English, and full of suspense. Perfect to keep your YouTube audience hooked. Part 2, Taste of Madness. The sun had not yet risen over Rome, but the streets were already full of whispers. Sirens echoed in the distance. Police cars blocked the roads near the Grand Roma Hall. News vans gathered outside the gates. Reporters shouted questions. No one had clear answers. Inside the building, wine glasses lay shattered on the marble floor. Red stains, wine or blood, no one could tell, marked the carpet. Chairs were overturned. People had fled during the night, running into the streets in fear. But not everyone had left. Some stayed behind, and those who did had changed. Emma's discovery. Emma sat in a lab inside the city's emergency medical center. She hadn't slept. Her hair was messy, her eyes tired, but her hands were steady. She stared at the sample under her microscope, the same red wine that caused chaos the night before. Jack stood nearby, watching quietly. "It's not just wine," Emma said. "There's something inside, a living particle. It moves. It reacts to heat, to light, even to emotions." Jack raised an eyebrow. "The living virus." Emma shook her head. "No, it's not killing cells. It's waking them up." She showed him the screen. This compound connects with human brain cells. It increases energy, sharpens reflexes, but it also removes fear, removes control." Jack crossed his arms. "You mean it makes people wild?" Emma nodded. "Wild, brave, dangerous, alien confusion." High above Earth, on the alien mothership, Commander Velok paced the floor of the control room. "This was a mistake," he said, his voice cold and tight. "The serum was designed to suppress resistance, to make humans easy to control." His assistant, Dr. Tvul, studied the data. "The results are unexpected. Instead of breaking their minds, we triggered something buried deep inside." Velok slammed his fist on the console. "What did we miss?" Tvul hesitated. "Perhaps. Humans are not like other species. They are not afraid of madness. They celebrate it." He showed a screen filled with video feeds. Humans fighting, laughing, breaking things, hugging each other, dancing in the streets. Some were shouting ancient war cries. Others cried and smiled at the same time. "This is not fear," Tvul said. "This is release." Velok stared at the images in silence. "They are not breaking," he whispered. "They are waking up." Jack faces a changed man. Later that day, Jack returned to the Grand Roma Hall. The doors were unlocked now. Police had come and gone, leaving tape and warning signs. But someone was still inside. Jack stepped over broken glass and walked through the dim hall. The smell of wine still hung in the air. He heard breathing. In the corner, the old man from the night before, the first one to change, sat on a chair, smiling. His red eyes glowed faintly in the shadows. "Back again," the man said. His voice was calm. "Do you feel it yet?" Jack frowned. "Feel what?" "The burn, the strength, the call." The man stood slowly. It's not a poison. It's a gift. You only need one taste. Jack held a small bottle in his hand. Emma's sealed wine sample. This thing inside the wine. What is it doing to you? The man's smile widened. It's not changing me. It's revealing me. He stepped closer. Jack backed away. You're afraid, the man said. But you don't have to be. We were made for this. Built for fire, for blood, for storms. Suddenly, the man punched the wall beside him. The stone cracked. I was nothing before, he whispered. Now, I feel alive. Across the globe, the spread begins. Within days, the wine had reached other cities. In Tokyo, a woman sang to the stars after drinking. Her voice echoed so powerfully that windows shattered. In New York, a street performer drank a glass and began lifting cars like they were paper. In Johannesburg, a group of friends turned into a wild pack, running barefoot into the night, laughing and shouting until sunrise. The serum was everywhere now. And it wasn't just affecting the body, it was awakening something in the mind. Dreams, memories, emotions too strong to control. Some people cried for hours, others danced until they collapsed. A few began drawing strange symbols they had never seen before, symbols from ancient caves, long forgotten by history. Emma and the hidden gene. Emma's research was moving fast. She worked with a secret lab now, protected by military guards. The world governments were watching closely. She made a breakthrough. There's a hidden gene in human DNA, she told the team. Inactive, silent, but the serum activates it. A general frowned. What kind of gene? Emma looked around the room. A survival gene. A last resort switch. When the brain senses danger, fear, or death, it turns on. Gives humans extra speed, extra strength, even visions. Like a beast mode? Jack asked. Emma smiled weakly. Yes, but older, deeper, like an ancient version of us waking up. The general leaned forward. And the wine. It skips the fear. It activates the gene directly. No control. Just raw instinct. Everyone in the room was silent. Then the general whispered, "We gave humanity a taste of madness." And they liked it. Alien panic. Commander Velok stared at the map of Earth. Red zones appeared, places where the serum had taken full effect. Cities where people were changing fast. We must stop this, he said, before it spreads too far. Tival looked nervous. It may already be too late. Humans are adapting. The world was changing. It wasn't just the wine. It wasn't the aliens' plan. Something deeper had awakened within humanity, a power that had long been forgotten, buried beneath the layers of civilization and history. The Redborn group, the ones who had fully embraced the wine's effects, were spreading across the globe. They didn't just crave chaos. They sought purpose. They sought strength. The wine had unlocked something that had always been there, humanity's ancient warrior spirit. It was like a fire lit in the veins of the world. And for some, it was terrifying. The hidden gene. Emma Voss continued her research in the underground lab, the harsh lights casting long shadows on the walls. Her hands shook as she adjusted the microscope. She had been working nonstop, trying to understand the connection between the wine and the ancient instincts it awakened. The wine had done more than just turn people into wild, fearless beings. It had reached into their genetic code. There was a part of humanity's DNA that had been dormant for millennia, long before civilization and the rise of modern man. The gene that the wine activated wasn't just survival. It was the instinct of the hunter, the warrior, the fighter. Emma had traced it back to ancient times. Tribal humans, warriors who fought with ferocity. The wine had opened the door to that ancient power. But there was something she didn't understand. Why hadn't anyone remembered this before? Why had it stayed hidden? A voice broke her from her thoughts. Emma, Jack said, stepping into the lab. We need to talk. She looked up, her eyes tired but intense. "What is it?" "We've found something. Something about the aliens," he said, his voice tight. "They're afraid. They think humans are something they've never faced before." "Of course they're afraid," Emma replied, "but we need to act fast. The more people drink the wine, the more the gene wakes up. Soon, everyone will have it, and we'll be in a war we can't win." Alien dilemma. High above Earth, on the alien mothership, Commander Velox stared out at the swirling stars. He was watching Earth. The planet was alive with chaos. People in the cities were no longer just wild. They were becoming something more. The plan had been simple: release the serum, weaken the humans. But instead of bending them to their will, it had awakened a power they never expected. "They're changing," Velox said to his assistant, Tuval, his voice dark with disbelief. "We made a mistake." "They're not just reacting," Tuval replied, his voice trembling with something like fear. "They're adapting. We triggered something primal." The monitors displayed images from around the world. People running wild through streets, jumping from buildings, attacking alien soldiers and laughing. It was no longer just mindless chaos. It was a revolt, a resistance. Humans were using their newfound power with purpose. "Why didn't we know?" Velox asked. "Why didn't we see this before?" Tuval paused. I think it's because they've been hiding it. This gene, this strength, it was dormant, buried deep inside them." Velox narrowed his eyes. "They've been waiting for something like this." Tuval stepped forward, his voice quieter now. "Maybe it's not us they were meant to fight. Maybe they've been preparing for something else." The Redborn. The Redborn had grown. In cities across the globe, their influence was spreading. They were no longer a small group. They were becoming an army, a tribe of awakened humans connected by their shared experience with the wine. They were stronger, faster, more fearless, and they were beginning to understand their power. Jack stood in the center of a hidden meeting room in Berlin. Around him, men and women, Redborn, each with the same intense look in their eyes, stood watching. "You all feel it, don't you?" Jack said. "The change, the power." A man stepped forward. His face was scared, his eyes glowing red. "We feel it. We see the truth. The aliens tried to weaken us, but they gave us a gift instead." One woman laughed, a harsh, throaty laugh. "We don't need their technology. We don't need their weapons. We are the weapon now." Jack looked at Emma, who stood beside him. She nodded, knowing the time had come. "The question is," Jack continued, "what do we do with this power? Do we just fight for our freedom, or do we take the fight to them?" There was a long silence. Then a voice from the back spoke, deep and steady. "We take it to them. We show them that humanity is not weak. We show them what we were always meant to be." The sky above Berlin had turned dark with the shadow of alien ships. Their massive forms hovered, casting an eerie glow as they prepared to launch their attack. The once peaceful city now trembled with fear, but not for long. The Redborn stood in the streets, their eyes glowing with the power awakened by the wine. They were no longer the fearful humans who had been drinking wine just days before. They were something else now, something primal, something stronger. The interior of the alien mothership was nothing like Earth. It was vast and metallic, a cold, sterile environment that hummed with the power of an alien civilization far superior to anything humanity had known. But as Jack and Emma, along with a small group of Redborn, ventured deeper into its heart, something changed. The air was thick with tension. Alien soldiers lay in ruin, their bodies scattered across the darkened corridors, victims of the humans' newfound rage and power. The Redborn had learned quickly. They weren't just fighting to survive anymore. They were fighting to win. Jack's heart pounded as they moved deeper into the core of the mothership. The walls were lined with strange, glowing symbols, their meanings lost to time. But one thing was clear. The aliens had never expected this. "This is it," Jack whispered, his voice steady. even though his body hummed with adrenaline. "We're almost there." Emma nodded. She had seen the power of the Redborn firsthand. It wasn't just the wine that had made them stronger. It was their will. The wine had awoken something deep within humanity that had been hidden for centuries. An unstoppable drive to fight, to protect, to conquer. They reached the control room. At the center of the room stood Commander Velok, his cold, alien eyes watching them approach. His expression was a mixture of disbelief and anger. The humans had made it this far, and now they were about to bring an end to everything he had worked for. "You've done well to get this far," Velok said, his voice thick with contempt. "But it won't matter. You cannot defeat us. We control this ship. We control Earth." Jack stepped forward, his eyes locked onto Velok. "You thought you could break us. You thought you could control us. But you didn't understand humanity. You didn't understand the spirit that's been inside us since the beginning." Velok sneered. "You're nothing but animals. Nothing but savages." Jack shook his head. "No, we are human, and we're stronger than you could ever imagine." Emma's voice cut through the tension. "We're taking back our planet. You're the ones who underestimated us." Velok raised his hand, signaling to the remaining alien soldiers around him. They moved in, weapons drawn, prepared to destroy the humans once and for all. But the Redborn were not afraid. They charged forward, their strength and speed unmatched. They moved as one, like a tidal wave of pure human force. A fierce battle erupted in the control room. Jack and Emma fought side by side, the Redborn pushing forward, overwhelming the alien defenses. Emma ducked under an alien's weapon, then swung her fist into its side, sending it flying. Jack was everywhere at once, taking down one alien after another, his movements sharp and calculated. The battle seemed to blur, time moving faster as the chaos unfolded around them. But they didn't stop. With a powerful leap, Jack reached Velok, knocking the alien commander back. Velok snarled, grabbing for a weapon, but Jack was faster. With one swift motion, Jack disarmed him and sent him sprawling to the ground. "You're finished," Jack said, looking down at Velok, who was now on his knees, breathing heavily. Velok looked up, eyes full of defiance, but there was fear there now, the fear of defeat, the fear that humanity was too powerful to control. "Earth will burn," Velok spat. "You cannot win this. You will be wiped out." Jack stood tall. "We already won." With a final roar, the Redborn surged forward, smashing the alien control systems. Explosions shook the mothership as the alien ship began to break apart. The turning tide. Outside, the skies above Earth were filled with the debris of the alien ships as they started to fall. The Redborn had struck at the heart of the invasion, and the mothership was crumbling. Emma looked out the control room window, her breath catching as she watched the sky light up with the fall of the alien ships. "We did it," she whispered, almost not believing it. "We really did it." Jack stood beside her, his expression grim but proud. "We're not done yet, but this is the beginning of something new." The aftermath. The ground trembled as the alien forces scattered, their leadership broken. The Redborn, victorious, stood among the ruins of the mothership, staring up at the sky. The air was thick with smoke, but it wasn't the smell of defeat. It was the smell of victory. Humans were no longer just survivors. They were warriors. And the Redborn weren't just a group. They were a new beginning for humanity. Emma turned to Jack, her voice full of hope. "What now?"